Hello, you're listening to Me and Paranormal You with your host, Ryan Singer. Because it's more fun to believe. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to another experience of Me and Paranormal You. We got my buddy Greg Feinman back on the show. We are going to be chatting about a lot of developments that have been occurring or have occurred and are occurring still since our last chat. I believe our last chat was with me, you, and Mama Sue. We're sending our love and good energy to Mama Sue, who was not able to join us today. Greg, thanks for coming back on. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
There is a lot to catch up on. So I'm just going to let's do a quick recap here. I'll do the quick recap here and then we'll kind of pick up. And I recommend listening to the previous episodes for those who might be new to this story, as it has been unfolding for quite a while now. Now, it all started with UBD, Unusual Bovine Death, investigation on a pretty well-known cattle ranch. And so you, with your background in law enforcement and paramedic background, you start doing a pretty intense, well-documented investigation. You bring in Mama Sue after some, I guess we can call it vetting, where she kind of blew your socks off about her psychic abilities. And the rest, as they say, is history, I suppose. And there's lots of nuances to this investigation that have taken you into a lot of different places. We're talking about a missing person, we're talking about bovine death, we're talking about Oma or Sasquatch. People might be more familiar with that term. UFOs, aliens, or as you call them, FITS, friends in the sky. And so an ongoing investigation that has been unfolding and revealing information to you and Mama Sue, and your journey itself has come quite a ways, right?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it's if I wasn't experiencing it myself, it'd be kind of hard to believe, But yeah, you summed it up pretty good on everything. It's pretty hard to sum everything up on this, but you were able to do it pretty good. Things have been happening, and I'll talk real quick that we had another UBD that was reported to us, and this is since the last time we've talked. It was reported to me December 22nd of 2021, just a few months ago. And it was on another ranch, not the ranch that I'm on. And these people heard about my investigation, and they called me through Facebook, basically, saying, "Hey, we had a mutilation out here, UBD. Can you come and investigate?" So, of course, I went out there, but Mama Sue, she hasn't been feeling good, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I went out there to the location and met with the owner, and then from there, it was right off of. I can say it was right off of a highway, and we went west off of the main highway just a little bit, maybe quarter mile, and then turned into the field and followed it back kind of close to the highway again, but in the field, area. But the thing is, the terrain was so rough that I couldn't make it all the way in. We had to stop at a location, and then we had to walk in with what equipment we could. And I'm not good at walking, especially, what we had to do, but I had to get to it, but, I get to it, and, right away I see something that's just blew me away. Okay. The cow, the bovine, okay, the front half of it looked like it'd been dead a day. The back half looked like it'd been dead about a month. And, the chest of the bovine, the chest had been peeled back. The hide had been peeled back from the chest, and it was laying on the ground, but still attached to the bovine itself. But the stuff that had been peeled away, the hide that had been peeled away, was laying on the ground, and there was about 10 cc's of dried blood that I saw. Plus, the chest was bloody. I'm not saying that theirs was pools of blood everywhere. All right, but here's the thing. All right, what you don't see on a mutilation is blood.
Yeah, that's the interesting.
Every mutilation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
every
interesting
mutilation
thing
I've ever been on, no blood. I don't care if there's incisions into the bovine itself. I don't care if there's never blood. I mean, not even a drop. But this, I got there. The chest is bloody. There's like dried blood, and they asked me, what I thought. And without Sue there, I wasn't going to give a determination. All right, but I'm looking at the location, and I can tell you that you don't get on this property without being seen. I don't care what time of day. All right, you're going to get seen. You're going to draw attention going out there. Matter of fact, when we were out at the location, the rancher that was with me, the owner of the property, got several calls saying that they saw people in the field. That was us. But they were reporting it. I mean, but you draw attention by getting out on this area. And I had to say that I've never seen that much blood. So I can't say this was done by humans. There was no tracks, shoe impressions, foot impressions, footprints or whatever. There was markings in the ground. There was that I took photographs of. They looked like a bunch of little dots, like a whole bunch of dots, all right, impressed into the ground. And I don't know what that was. I have no idea. I've never seen that before. There's these little dots, maybe like a rows of, several rows of 4, that you can see in the ground, about 10 yards from the cow, from the bovine. That was the only time I've ever seen anything of any type. All right. So I let Mama Sue know.
Well, real quick, before we get into that, tell me if you can what separates this, other than the no blood, from the typical UBD, but what separates it from also an animal mauling or an attack from, say, wolves or whatever it could have been?
Great question, man. I'm sorry I didn't put that in there, but when you have of mauling, or you have any animal that's going to attack a cow, I mean, there's got to be evidence of that. There's got to be. See, they don't leave incisions. All right, they leave chew marks. All right, they don't incise the skin. Now, the chest, all right, where it had been peeled back, the cuts, these appeared to be laser incisions. That's what it appeared to be. All right, but it looked like the cow was still alive when this was being done, which bothered me because this is
that's a gruesome thought.
This is not normal, but I wasn't sure. I mean, who else could have been? And there's more to the story on this, and I can talk about that later. But that's what I got, and I finally got a hold of Mama Sue, and on Christmas she came up, and we spent Christmas together. And then Christmas night, what better thing to do on Christmas than go investigate a UBD? So we went out at about midnight, all right, about 11:30, and I didn't tell the owners that I was coming out. I told them I was going to be coming out, but I didn't know when. All right. And they were probably expecting me sometime earlier, but I wanted to come out late, and I didn't want to tell them. I just wanted to see if I draw attention. If I go out late and when they're not expecting me. So I did. I went out, and man, I wasn't very far on that property before I was getting a phone call from them saying, "Is that you? Is that you?" "Yeah." "Oh, okay, you're going the wrong way." "Thanks. All right. Yeah, we're going to meet you out there, and we'll get you to the right location, because it's really hard to. Everything looks different at night out in this area, out in the county. It does. And it's easy to get, especially when there's not real roads, guiding you, and you're really going off of landmarks instead of roads, and it's dark. It's hard to see where you're going in the right place, But that being said, the owners, the ranchers, led us in, and we got to the location where we had to stop, and it was cold, and Mama Sue's disabled. I'm disabled. I barely made it out there. I wasn't going to try to get Sue to walk that terrain. No way. It wasn't even a thought. But here's the thing. She said, "Greg, here is fine. I'm getting a lot right here. I don't need to go any farther." Now, mind you, I didn't tell Sue anything about this mutilation. Nothing. Not a nothing. No facts. Just that we had one. And that I went out there. No opinion. So we get out, and I start recording. And she asked, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yeah." You can start. She goes, "Okay, Greg, this is coming from Fitz. This is not our work. This was done by another alien tribe." And they used the word tribe. That don't have our best interest in mind. Yeah, very interesting.
Well, I mean, because real quick, what we've got here, we've got a situation where someone was compelled to find you because of what had happened on their ranch. And what could be, and obviously as someone who's a rancher, and I don't know how long these people have been ranching, et cetera, but I'm sure they're well aware of what like a mutilated or an animal that they have on their property, what it looks like when it's attacked by like a predator animal of some kind.
Let me jump in real quick by saying that I have a method that I didn't talk about. That it's hard to but I have a method, and it kind of comes back from my paramedic days. Like when they dispatch me to a reported heart attack, You know, to me, I'm just going to use that as an example. To me, they they can't diagnose. They don't know. I'm not going to go there thinking it's a heart attack because I'm going to be tunnel vision. I'm going to get there and let my investigation decide. My evaluation of the patient decide what's going on, how I'm going to treat. I'm not going to just show up asking where, how long they've had chest pain, without talking to them first about it. I mean, you know what I mean? So I leave it for, to me, it's an unknown medical that I'm going to. Well, that being said, when I get called out to a death of a bovine, and especially, there's a million ways a cow can die on a property. That does not involve what we're dealing with. There's a million ways for a cow to die. I mean, infections and, breaking a leg, and I don't know, there's just a lot. And so I'm not thinking right away it's a mutilation. All right. But you have to, there's little clues, like ranchers just don't, they know what a normal death of a cow is. Ranchers, they've seen their cows die, and they know what looks different, and enough to call me out there. So you kind of got to use that, because it's, the ranchers aren't idiots, man. These people are, they're very smart, and not only that, they know their cows, and they know illnesses, and they know, injuries. And for someone to be compelled to call me out there, it's got to be a little something different about it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, it's
but that is just one thing. See, it's not just one thing that makes anything. All right, it's a whole bunch of things together. And so I'm going to get back to it. They said that they don't have our best interests in mind.
And this is Fitz, Friends in the Sky. Let's just remind people what
this other alien tribe. Yeah, this other alien tribe does not have our best interests in mind. And then Sue was feeling the way they feel towards us, the hatred that they had for us. And Sue saw what they looked like. And the reptilians, the reptilians. And she said, I don't like what you look like. I'm sorry. But the reason why she said that is because the way she was getting the feeling from them to us. And first of all, they said there was no reason for this cow to die, that they strictly wanted to hurt this cow. All right, and they wanted to make it look like a mutilation. For whatever reason, I don't know, make it look like a real one. For whatever reason.
But I mean, it also seems like they want to make it look like a mutilation, but they also wanted to make it seem a little more violent. Clearly,
works. Make them look worse than what they look when they're doing this for us, anyways. But that looks, that's gruesome. The ones that we have aren't gruesome. I mean, they are but not, they're, bloody puts a whole nother factor into it. And it even shows, a little intent that they just wanted to hurt that cow. Just, they said that she continued by saying that they do not like me, Martin Greg Feinman, at all. They hate me. And They're going to do everything they can to destroy everything associated with what I'm doing, that I use, including my vehicle. She said they're going to disable your vehicle so you can't use it no more.
And so, just to keep the timeline straight, this is December 25th. This is Christmas night. That
Yes.
this is all coming in. And what's interesting is, you have a different location from where the investigation has started. So I'm curious if there's, any reason you think that this happened, they sent this message or made this, awful display at a different spot.
Well, I'm going to continue by saying that Sue said that there's going to be an increase in UBDs around the area. Right? And more than likely, it's going to be on property, ranches that have never had the problem before. Now, this ranch, they claim that they had one in 1985. All right, that they had a mutilation or UBD in 1985. Now, I didn't, I wasn't on that one, so I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there, so. But they said it's more than likely going to happen to people that don't have the problem. We feel that the ranch that we're on is being protected. And Mama Sue, another thing, said that they don't have the same technology that Fitz does. That's why it looks different. They don't have the same technology. They're inferior to Fitz. Matter of fact, Greg, she said you are being protected by them, by Fitz. They want to hurt you. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. I don't care. They hate my guts. I refuse to be their enemy. I understand why they don't like humans in some way. I mean,
considering
we're
how
leading ourselves to our own destruction. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm just saying, I'm not going to hate them because they hate me. But regardless, that's what they said. They're gonna do something. And I forgot to tell you that while I was out on the first investigation, I went out, my body camera got fried. All right. I have a $400 body camera, just fried it. Just stopped working. And Sue picked up that, yeah, they did that. And they're going to do it to more of your equipment. And that's when she further by said they're going to just take out my vehicle. And since that time, both of my computers are fried that I use to do all my reports. I can't do anything right now because both of them, I went to touch one and just turned off. Went to touch the other one, my laptop, my backup, just touched it, just went off and will not turn back on. The one almost is worse than that. At 4 a.m, I get up to make my coffee and I touch my coffee pot and fried my coffee pot.
Wait, did it shatter or
just
did
fried it? Just the clock went up. No, the clock just like I unplugged it when I hit the power to turn it on, because I had it all ready to go for coffee. All I had to do was hit power. As soon as I touched power, just the clock went out like I unplugged it or turned it off, and that was it. It wouldn't turn on. Right. No good. And that coffee pot was only like maybe a month old, maybe 2 months at tops. It was it was still kind of brand new to me. so to speak. So tried that. All right. And then fast forward, March 11th, 2021. Now, mind you, I don't go out much. I
wait,
get out very little.
2022? Do you mean 2022?
Yes, 2022.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so March 11th, 2022.
2022. Yes, I'm sorry. We haven't gotten into this, but I was, and I'll talk about it later, but I was coming back from gifting Oma apples. And again, I don't go very many places. The places that I go, my doctor's appointments, the pharmacy, and that's, and Walmart, or the food store. That's it. But then I go out to the ranch, now it had been, like a year since I'd been out there gifting apples. But that being said, March 11th, I was coming back from gifting them, and I was coming into Trinidad, the city limits, and I saw a vehicle coming towards me. So it was at 7:15 at night, so it's dark, and there's a vehicle coming toward me. So I put my vehicle on my car, or my headlights on low, and I had both hands on the steering wheel. I'm looking down the road, both eyes on the road. What I'm trying to say is there was no rectal cranial inversion involved. All right. I was like paying attention. The next thing I know, I think I see a horse at the right front part of my car. And the next thing, from thinking I see a horse, is the horse's head is going through my windshield.
Oh my God.
And I see the horse's head in my vehicle. And then it goes off because it hit the front half of it. The back half was heavier. It brought it up and around my vehicle and then down onto the ground. And then I hit my brakes. That's how fast it happened. There was no force in the road, man. It came from like the side of the road at a dead run. All right. And we just collided at that location. And I'm not looking off to the right, way off into the darkness. I couldn't see anything. I mean, there was no sign of any animal. And the next thing I know, I think I see a horse, and then the horse's head. Not only that, my dash cam went flying through past my head at about 100 miles an hour. Went by. I remember that. And glass went everywhere. I saw glass go everywhere. But here's the crazy thing: I didn't get one piece of glass on me. Not one piece of glass. Even there was glass everywhere in that vehicle, except where I was at. And not because I was sitting there, because glass would have been around the area on the seat where I was sitting. There was like glass dust. There was not even nothing. I didn't get hit with glass, and I saw glass coming towards me, but somehow I didn't get hit with anything. And, because this horse's head went through my windshield, man. I mean, that's the last thing I was thinking I was going to see that day.
Yeah, I mean, that's scary. That's scary as hell.
Yeah, and so I boom, I hit, and then I start slowing down, and doesn't even completely it doesn't disable my vehicle to the point where my airbags were deployed, because they hit it right on the strongest part of my vehicle, the right corner. But it's still just it messed. Yeah, it just pushed everything in, and then I pulled up, and I got out of the car, and I called 911, and there was no way. I did not want to go back and see what happened to that horse. I saw people back there, and I thought I saw the horse up and around, but I was a distance away, so I wasn't sure if the horse was like still walking around or what. But I just know I didn't want to see the injuries. I didn't. And I wait for a little bit, and the trooper finally shows up. He was on another call, and he shows up, and he goes to where all the commotion is first, and he talks to the owner of the horse, and he talks to all them and gets their story. Then he comes and talks to me, and I'm way down the road, and he comes down, and the first thing he says to me, "Sir, I don't blame you for this even a little bit." And there's something you don't hear a state trooper say very often. "I don't blame you for this even a little bit." He said, "From everything I was told, there was nothing you could have done. Nothing." He says, "This was just this, I don't even know, man, bad luck." I said, "You don't know the half of it."
And so this is
You
just
don't
a
know the
few
half of it.
months. This is just a few months after Mama Sue tells you that I guess the reptilians are going to, or a different alien tribe is going to do whatever they can to stop you. And now you lose your coffee, which is what gives you the juice to get on the computers to do the work. The car to go actually go do the work. Are you there?
All my computers.
All your computers.
I can't even watch the video because I don't have a computer right now. I'm trying to earn the money right now to get another computer. A couple people said, "Well, what, man? I mean, they're just going to destroy." So I said, "Well, what, dude? I'm not going to just go Amish." I mean, I need a computer. I got to get another one. And here's the thing. All right. Craziest thing, man. Oh, I had that vehicle on full coverage for quite some time. And then I've been, running into hard times. So I've been, you cut bills and everything. And I called and dropped it to liability. And, I hit this horse. I'm hoping that I can find the owner, get the owner's information. And I'm trying to get this information. They won't give it to me. And I'm trying to get the accident report. And they told me to call my insurance. But before I did, I was sure, I was sure, I lost my vehicle. It's gone. Like 1 second, I had a vehicle, and all in a split second, it's totaled before I can even hit the brakes. And I owned it outright, and, liability, that ain't going to cover it. And I'm just out of vehicle. So, you know what I did, man? I quoted Job in the Bible, my friend. I did. And of course, what happened to Job was a lot worse than it happened to me. But he said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Why? Because Satan has a hand in this as well, and some of the bad things that happen. He does. Know that. And all this bad things happening to me left and right. And he's wanting me to curse God. He's wanting me to curse God. I know, I blame him. I don't curse God. So I praised God, and I prayed to him and said, surely you're not going to let me do without a vehicle. I'm doing what you want me to do. I'm sure of it. You know, apart from you, I can do nothing, and you've done a lot for me. Can you help me out here? So I have to call the state patrol to try to get an accident report, and they said to call the my insurance, that they have a better chance of getting it, you know. And I said, okay, because I was trying to just get call records at CSP, and evidently it's hard to get it right away. And you got a better chance of calling insurance company. So I called my insurance company. And I explained the situation. Told them I hit a horse, you know, and I get emotional on this, you know, just because it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a lot.
He says,
I mean,
he says, well, sir, I see you have liability, and that doesn't cover your accident, but you have comprehensive. Comprehensive covers any animals that run out in front of you, and that includes a horse. So you're 100% covered. 5 days, I thought I'd lost my vehicle. 5 days. And then I prayed to God. And right after that, I got another vehicle. And the vehicle that I got, I didn't just make it okay, it just ended up, well, this is what I got. I got another 03. It was a Jeep Grand Cherokee that I had, but I got another Jeep Grand Cherokee the same year. But this one has everything mine didn't have, including half of the problems that mine had. All fixed. Plus, mine didn't have, it had a different color door and a fender, different color bumper on the front bumper, because before I got it, it had been damaged, and it was just cosmetic, and it was fixed. And I was going to be getting a paint job. I'd already had an estimate done on it, and it was going to get a paint job to get it all one color. But what I'm saying is, God replaced it with something twice. It was twice what I had. Even the motor is better than the motor that I had in the other one. I had a V8 in that one, and that's the whole reason I wanted to stay with the Jeep. And this one has the high output motor. I mean, I'm not saying look at all the features I got. I'm saying that that's what God did. He gave me my Jeep back, but a better one. And I just had to be faithful. I just had to stay, you know, not curse him, which, you know, I'm never going to do that. You know, when you got things happening like that, you don't want to curse God. All right. And not only that, 2 witnesses came up, and both of them said the same thing. They don't know how that horse didn't go through my windshield. The whole thing didn't go through my windshield. The way it looked like for sure it was going to go all the way through my windshield. They have no idea how it didn't. And I said, well, I know how. You know, and Sue told me that I'm being protected, because they're trying to hurt me too.
Well, I'm curious.
And I'm not making this, I'm not making this up, and I'm not trying to get emotional. I don't normally get emotional. This is, it was just a crazy situation where you're in a hopeless situation.
Well, that's what I want to ask you about.
Like,
I want to ask you, like, you know, is there a point, or at what point do you kind of sit back and ask yourself, you know, do I need to do this? Do I need to keep doing this? Right? I'm sure the thought has had to have crossed your mind, right? Like, do I need to keep pushing forward on this investigation that's causing all this calamity in my life?
My friend, it hasn't even crossed my mind. Hadn't even crossed my mind. Now, me and Sue, since this investigation started, both of us have been hammered. She has been getting physically ill with things that it's paranormal, what her illnesses. It's paranormal in nature. They started one night here at the house and on a contact with a spirit that was messing with her stomach. And it's a long story, but we got rid of it. But she said her stomach wasn't feeling right. So she goes home. Next day, she's calling me. She's in the ER. And they do tests on her, and she's shown to be in third stage liver failure. And she had her abdomen was distended. She had what's called ascites. And the spirit that did this in life was an alcoholic. Okay? In life was an alcoholic. Sue doesn't drink a drop of alcohol. And she goes in to get a scope done of her esophagus, and they find 7 esophageal varices. Now, an esophageal varices is like an ulcer on your esophagus that eats into your artery, and you bleed to death like in seconds when one of these burst. As a paramedic, I've been on a lot of them, and there ain't nothing you can do if one bursts. And you get one if you're a major alcoholic, and you get one, if you drink a lot. You get one, not 7. So she got 7 of them, and then they band them up. They had to band them. And they go in a week and a half later to check and see how they're doing, and they find another 7 esophageal varices.
And so what is the reaction of the doctors and the medical staff when this, anomaly is occurring?
That's a whole nother issue, man. I'm sickened by it. He hasn't talked to her once, hasn't said anything. Matter of fact, the only time she has talked to the doctor, not even talked, the only time she sees the doctor, this oh man, this one fired me up when I heard this, what she said. Only time I've seen that doctor is just before they knocked me out before the surgery. And he goes, hello. And then point, they put me out. And then as soon as I wake up, he is long gone. He does the surgery and he's out of there. I'm like, okay, here's the thing. She got something unprecedented. She's went in 3 times. She went in another time and another 7. So she's got 21 of them. That's unprecedented. And the doctor hasn't even spoke to her.
You think there'd be some kind of conversation happening?
Yeah, you'd think there would be, wouldn't there? But see, here's the thing. When Satan's got his hand in it, things like this happen. It's just not, this is not normal. Doctors just don't do that. But when Satan's hand is in it, and I'm telling you, Satan's hand is in it, I'm not losing my mind. All right, because a lot of what's going on when we came in contact with Fitz, and they told us what's going to happen. They told me, they reminded us about God. Now, at first we thought they didn't know God because we asked them if they knew who Jesus Christ was, and they said, yeah, the Son of God. I said, do you love Jesus the way we do? And they said, not sure yet. So because I didn't think they knew God and they weren't sure they loved Jesus, I started reading them the Bible every night. Started reading the Bible. Until I realized what they meant. What they meant was they don't know if we love Jesus the way they do. And they have a relationship with him that we can only imagine to have. God has created one big universe. This is what they told us, told me, told Sue. God created one big universe. And he's put life on several planets, thousands of planets. I don't know how many. A lot. Say that. And he separated all of us by dimensions so we don't interact. We can get in a ship and we can fly all over this universe and we ain't finding life anywhere. And isn't it funny that every planet around, we can't even get a resource off of it. Every planet, there's something, like 5 million mile an hour winds and 7,000 degree temperatures and crazy stuff. I'm not saying that, but it's unlivable for humans. You couldn't even colonize if you wanted to. Well, that's a reason for that. Because if it's inhabited in one dimension, it can't be inhabited in any other dimension. It's impossible.
Well, let's
I don't
go
know.
back
That's
to
what they told me.
Real quick. Because you say, that's what they're telling Mama Sue, and that's what they're telling you. I think we need to just remind or even get into a little bit about, your communication now and how that
The what?
Your communication with Fitz and how that started. Because I'm trying to think back to the last chat we had, and I'm not sure we really expounded on that so much as far as you developing and starting the communication.
See, yeah, and that's because I need to get into that too.
Mm-hmm.
So since this investigation started, and again, I'm going to remind that Sue said something to me in the very beginning. You're going to find things out about yourself that you never knew.
And
about yourself
that's, considering where you started and where you are now, I think that's the understatement of the year.
Yeah, exactly. But everything I want to say, because everything she said it comes true. And so I would pose questions to Fitz. I'd pose questions to Fitz, and he would ask them, and then she would get the answers, and then she'd give them to me. And then one day, we're asking questions, and that way, and she says, "Oh, they're gonna start going to you with the answers here pretty soon, Greg." So what do you mean by that? He goes, "Well, they're going to be giving you the answers directly instead of going through me." I said, "Well, how are they going to do that?" She goes, "I don't know. This is what they're telling me. I don't know. This is what they're saying." Well, it wasn't very long. I got to, because everything has to be prefaced or whatever, but I had a dream when I was 8 years old. I lived on a ranch, 20-acre ranch, had a patio that was uncovered, big ranch house that we lived in, and I had a dream that I'm standing on a patio and I'm looking up at this craft that's about a quarter mile in length. And it's about 200 feet off the ground, but it's so big it looks like it's lower. And it's moving really slowly across the sky. And I could see things moving around on it. And the next thing I know, I woke up. I was about 8 years old. Well, that being said, after like the first couple of months of this investigation started, some things started happening with me. And I, at first, was not trying to be part of the story. I was like, I wasn't sure. So we posed questions and asked Fitz, have I been taken? Have you taken me? And they said, yeah, when you were a younger man. Well, that doesn't tell me anything. Yesterday I was a younger man. And the day before that I was yet younger again. So, that doesn't tell me anything. Well,
Not a lot of
I'm telling
specificity here.
I tell my mom this story that we're asking this. And you know what my mom tells me? My stepmom, she goes, well, and my dad is dead now. He's been dead a couple of years now. He goes, your dad was taken.
Wow, and this was never spoken about before.
I never heard about it. No. And she goes, your dad was taken. I said, what? After I fell off what? What do you, I mean, we've had conversations a million times and she's never brought that up. And all of a sudden now she's bringing it up because Sue said, when you need to hear it, you're going to hear this stuff. All right. And all of a sudden she's bringing it up now. And she says, yeah, he was taken. I said, when was he taken? She said, when he lived on the ranch. Well, my dad and mom divorced when I was 11 and he moved off the ranch when I was 11. So it puts him on the ranch when I had that dream. Now, I started having experiences at the house. And I asked Sue to tune in for me. She was at home, about 80 miles from me. I said, tune in for me. Something's up. I don't know what. Something's up. So I go to bed that night. And I open my eyes. And Ryan, I'm about 3.5, 4 feet at least off my bed, hovering above my bed. And I look over just enough to see my dresser, but then it went blurry. Everything went like you can't see nothing, but I knew I was in the same room because the ambient light didn't change. It was still the same darkness. Okay. But I couldn't see anything other than to my hands and I was being restrained, but not violently. It was more for my safety.
And when you mean restrained, do you mean you weren't able to move?
My arms were like I couldn't move them the way I wanted to move them. They were to the side of me.
Oh, okay.
And I couldn't move, but it wasn't a violent restraining. I can't explain it because I was able to move my hands a little bit, but I couldn't move them to where I wanted to. And here's the thing. I'm telling myself I'm being taken right now. And I'm digging my middle finger into my thumb, causing pain. And the thing is that this was not a recollection. This was as it was happening. Right. I wasn't recalling this. I was experiencing as it was happening. Right. And the next thing I know, I still can't see anything, but now I'm in a lit room. I'm in a different room. It's lit. But it's not lit. To me, it's because it looked like I had a clear plastic bag of murky water sitting over my eyes, and that's all I could see. But I knew I was being looked at. I knew I was being looked at, and I wasn't afraid. There was no fear. This was I can't even explain it. And the next thing I know, I'm back in my bed. And the next thing I know after that is my phone rings. And it's Mama Sue. Dang, Greg, you were taken.
What time of night or morning was this?
I don't even know. That's another thing. I don't remember a lot of this stuff that when you come out of it or now I'll tell you that she said you were taken. she said that they told me the next time they take you, you are going to be in direct communication with them. Okay.
Oh, wait.
You know?
Let me clear this up real quick. The next time, meaning she's communication with them, meaning she's going to be in communication with you or with them when it's happening.
Fitz was telling her, you know, that the next time they take me, after the next time I'm taken, that I will be in direct communication with them. Communication to me is like walkie-talkie, man. You know, it's like a telephone or direct communication. So one day she calls me and says, Greg, you're in direct communication with them. They took me when they took you. And they let me see them working on you. And
so she was there at the same time.
She was there, yes.
And she could see you or sense you.
She sees me, and she says that I'm not on a table. There is no table. I'm hovering. And they're all gathered around my head. And, you know, this is so fantastical to hear, but it's the way she explains it that makes it valid.
Well,
Because
I mean, on top of this, what her explanation is going to be, it's the fact that, you know, as soon as you like are back, you know, whatever someone wants to call it, wake up, you're back, you're aware that you're back in your house, in your bedroom. She calls you, and like right after that, and says, "You were just taken. I was there." Immediately after you get back. So how does she know? Other than that's so wild. That's just wild.
Yeah. So it gets even wilder. They said that when they wanted to look at a different part of my head, they wouldn't move at all. Their heads stayed the same. I moved. My body moved in relation to where they wanted to see. And it was just kind of like I don't know, like
rotisserie chicken,
like a gimbal kind of thing, you know. I don't know how to explain it, but I was hovering and one time, okay, I'm a fast forward. She said that they had my mouth open so wide that it looked unnatural. And they were sticking their fingers down my throat, and their fingers are about 2.5 times the size of ours. And they're sticking them down my throat. And the craziest thing is I woke up that day with a weird taste in the back of my throat. And, you know, I didn't say nothing, and then she tells me that, and whoa, you know. But that's happening. And so what kind of communication I'm in with them is telepathic communication. Now,
so these events, this event real quick, this event is what starts this. So like earlier, before we got into this, when you said the communication, you're in direct communication with them. This is what's being referenced.
This is what they meant. That it's telepathic communication. And I got to say that it doesn't come with an owner's manual. All right? There ain't no owner's manual. There ain't no user's guide, no quick start. And none of that, my friend, on how to learn how to talk telepathically. All right? Okay, when I was 14 years old, my mom, I had a stepdad for a short period of time that was into meditation, and I was trained by a shaman in like transcendental meditation. It's a training you got to go through. for transcendental meditation. You got to go through this training, and then they give you a mantra, and then you start meditating. But I've always been able to meditate since I was 14, but I stopped because it was kind of like a chore when I was a kid. Like when I was irritating my mom, she'd be like, "Have you meditated yet?" "No." "Well, go meditate." Oh man, So it was like a chore. So when I didn't have to meditate, I didn't. But then all of a sudden, things in my life happen for a reason. Who gets trained in transcendental meditation? But I knew for some reason that I had to start doing it again. But something told me, I didn't know. That's another thing. I knew that it was key to what I needed to do, and I don't know why. But that right there was my very first piece of information given to me, and I didn't even know it.
I mean, it's, considering for me, I'm just like trying to zoom out here and look at the story as where it is now and from where it started. And when you consider the starting point of just kind of going in before you even meet Mama Sue, you're like, okay, psychic, okay, well, let's see, right? And then you put, she goes through I guess we'll call it just a testing period, with the coroner and the files, and you're kind of blown away by that. And you're like, wow, this is like a legitimate psychic here. And now cut to now where we're talking about, telepathic communication with Fitz, after being aware of an abduction or multiple abductions, where both of you are now at least aware of it.
It was no coincidence that me and Sue met. No coincidence. We were supposed to meet. Me and Dan Leno were supposed to meet when we were in 4th grade. For whatever reason, I don't know. But what I've learned about telepathic communication, at first for me to be able to do it, to start to do it, I had to be in complete meditation with nothing on my mind. Nothing. And I'm going to explain it like this. Me and you are standing in front of each other, and I have an orange in my right hand. And I tell you, I'm going to lift up my right hand. I want you to tell me what's in my right hand. So I lift it up. You look at it. I say, "Well, Greg, that's an orange." Now remember, you don't think about every word that comes out of your mouth before you say it. It just comes out. If you did, there'd be a space between every word. You just say it. All right, well, you perceive it first. You perceive that it was an orange. That perception that made you say that's an orange is what you're sending. And you're sending in a universal language, my friend. When you send that picture, you're sending your perception of an orange. That's going to be their perception of an orange. You're sending that. You're not sending the word orange. That's why when you hear people say, like a psychic saying, "Oh, what they're trying to tell me is," what they're trying to say, what I'm getting is what they're saying. Why don't you just repeat what they say? Well, because that's not how you're getting it. You're not getting it word for word. You're getting like picture sentences. It's the only way I can explain it. The best way I can explain it. And it's hard to know it takes practice to know what a thought is from communication. And I didn't know at all. How I started learning is I started getting these holy cow things happening that all of a sudden made sense. And then they started having me do things and draw out things and write out things that isn't coming from me.
I mean, some people would call that
All right.
automatic writing. I mean, throughout history,
Well,
that's kind of a modern
it, it
way to
it
describe
would
at least a
be, but
variation of
here's
that.
the thing. Here's the thing. All right. There's a difference between, okay, when Sue did that reading, that very first reading, she didn't get that information psychically. She got it telepathically. And there's a difference. Psychically is like she picked up on it all on her own. And she got all this stuff that she just because it came to her. Telepathically means that it was revealed to her from another party.
Oh, okay, like an active conversation as opposed to
Yeah, it's a
finding
conversation.
information.
Yes, that information was revealed to her. She didn't get it psychically. It was revealed to her. And we didn't know it at the time that a link was established with me too. And I had no idea because I wasn't trying to be part of the story. I didn't, see, they have let us in on so much that this whole investigation that I'm doing was just to get me out there and get me aware of what's going on, because they have plans for me. They have plans for me. And they said that in September 2020, they spilled the beans on the cattle mutilations. I told you that. They spilled the beans, told how it was all going down and everything. And we were all happy, all, woohoo, yeah, like, not like we solved it, but we that, whoa. And then they told us why. He said that, life as we know it in 3 to 4 years, it's going to be over. And it just popped our bubble. Sue got a vision.
Let's
and
address.
it
I mean,
messed her up.
that's a big thing to say. So let's pause there for a second and kind of talk about that for a second. Because I do know, the end of life as we know it's a big phrase, and I guess there's nuance to it, and it could mean different things. It doesn't necessarily mean the end of all things.
No,
It just
no,
means
no.
the end of things as we currently understand
Yes,
them.
and please understand that I'm trying to be as transparent by what they tell us. I'm not trying to give you my words. I'm giving you their words. What they told us. I'm not. These aren't my words. But what they said. All right, I'm not going to get into all. Let's just say that fast forward to now, to today, and what's going on around the world, it is absolutely not even a little stretch of the imagination, even a little bit, to think what they said is going to happen. And, that, I don't know, man. There's a lot that we don't know, that we are in a need to know basis, is what I'm in. And I get like things happen that just when we're least expecting it. Perfect example. Stu was here, the house, and we split the bed, and my bed, and I went to bed at 10:30 at night. She came in at 3:30 in the morning to go to bed, and I was gone. I wasn't in the bed, nor was my little dog that I had. And she even though she saw that I wasn't in there, because I had a blue light, like Alexa, it's an Alexa light, that I had it on blue, and I fell asleep with it on. So, and she could see very well in there, and she saw that I wasn't in there, and she even pressed down because she couldn't believe her eyes. She pressed down to make sure, oh, I'm not there. And when she comes in the bedroom to go to bed, my little dog is like the happiest thing in the world. She's all jumping up, excited, meeting her and everything. Well, she didn't come out, nothing. She's pressing down, and then she comes out of the bedroom, looks in the bathroom, which is right outside of my bedroom, and nothing. She goes down the hallway a little bit farther, and she just came from there. She looks, and there's nothing, and she's freaking out. And she goes back to my bedroom, and there I am, and there's Portia dead asleep. And I wake up a few hours later. I wake up at like 6:30 in the morning, and I get up and I'm making coffee, and Sue pokes her head around the corner and goes, "Greg, you were taken in real time. I can't sleep. You want breakfast?" And she cooked breakfast, and she didn't sleep for 3 days. She was so freaked out.
Wow. I mean,
she goes, "What would have happened if they wouldn't have returned to you?"
I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, because how does she explain that to anyone?
I can tell you that if a field training officer with a new officer showed up, take a missing persons report, and she said that the field training officer would not say this. Oh, yeah, right over here where it says taken by aliens, yeah, click that. And then where it says case closed, check that box, and we're out of here. No, man, that ain't going to happen.
Well, this is a little more nuanced, too, because, I mean, I don't know if we want to get into this part of it, but because this isn't the craziest outcome that will happen, right? I mean, you being taken and not returned.
No. There's more to that of me being taken and what's going to happen with me. And when Sue told me what they're planning to do with me, again, there's always, you think you've heard it all, and then you hear that. And then as soon as I hear it, a week later, I'm watching this documentary, and what she said is going to happen with me was blurted out on that friggin' documentary. And when I went to tell people to watch that documentary, it was pay-per-view. You had to pay for it. I went to watch it again. I couldn't watch it. I had to pay for it. So how did I get to watch it for free? It was called Two-Face the Gray.
Oh, I've seen these. There's the first film is Sir No Face. The second one is Two-Face the Gray, and the third one is Phantom Rider. And I was actually just talking about these films the last couple of weeks on here.
Well, what they say in there in Two-Face the Gray is, you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I have.
So you know that he was given the information, and he goes through all this information he was given by the tattoo face man. And in there, they said that they found alien bodies that were biological exterior with a robotic structure. Now, a week before, Sue calls me and says, "Greg, we were taken, both of us. And they brought me to tell me what they're going to be doing with you. And Greg, they're going to be putting you in a body. They said they're going to make it up to you for getting you sick with rheumatoid arthritis, because they're the ones that got me sick, made me quit my job, lose my career, lost everything. And just by chance, It's a disease where you take a medicine that keeps you from getting COVID-19. That's pretty strange. And I had to learn humility. So that's why they gave it to me. And destroyed, but here's the thing, I became a better man because of all of it. And I'm happier today, and I'm grateful for what they did. Because I'm in a better place now.
And let's just for the record here, let people know that, we're not trying to, if somebody's listening to this and they're like starting to feel like upset and scared about this, that's not what we're trying to do.
There's nothing to be scared about. Okay. You got to know that if you look around, just watch around the world, that's what you need to be scared about. What's going on in the world right now? Around the world.
Yeah, the world is, it's been, the last few years have been really difficult for so many people.
Here's the thing is when, it's not about, and it all boils down to one thing that nobody wants to hear. Nobody wants to hear it. And that they Sue said that she got to touch the body that I'm going in. She got to touch it. And she said that she felt it like skin. But when she grabbed on the arm to squeeze it, couldn't squeeze it. That it was like, wanted to say almost mechanical under. And listen, when she's telling me this, it's hard for me to buy. I'm like, oh man, how are they going to do that? And, I don't know. Maybe they got technology, and then all of a sudden a week later, I see a show that I'm supposed to pay for, but I didn't pay for it. And, they talk, about that. I've never heard that in my life. I've never heard ever anything about anyone ever finding alien bodies with a robotic structure.
Yeah, and I think part of that too, as far as the documentary, if I remember correctly, was they were even in that documentary saying that at least some of these they believe are man-made by humans too, as trying to put them out there to pose as aliens.
Yes. In order to get a one world order. That's what they're talking about. Trying to say, what they're trying to say is the government's going to come out saying that there's an alien threat and try to unite everyone in order to get a one world order. And Biden this last summit was calling for a one world order.
Yeah, so I also really do want to make sure everybody listening is pretty clear on something. So because I think it's important to hit this note. When we're talking about, or when you're talking about being taken, and we're talking about we're not talking about just being abducted and returned to your bed. I know we've had this conversation on the phone before. Last year, we were talking on the phone, and you're like, "Hey, I just want you to know something's going to happen. I want you to know what it's going to be, and et cetera, et cetera." I guess, do you want to say that here today?
Well, listen, this is what I'm trying to do. All right, I'm just a normal guy. All right, that was a cop, paramedic that saw something that, for some reason, stuck with me, and I had to find out why. Just a guy that wanted to look into the mutilations of the cows. To all. And I did it in the best way I can and the most legitimate way that I can, in a way no one else has done before. And I've talked about everything that we've gotten, that they've told us, not that we're coming up by ourselves. And I'm trying to be as honest as possible to everyone, because I wouldn't lie about something like this. I mean, if I was going to make, I'm going to say this, I've said this before, but if I was going to make up a story, it would be where I'm the hero at the end of it. All right, where I look really good and awesome and cool. Not this, not this, but everything Sue said. She said, you're going to learn things about yourself. I learned that my whole life has been a character test. My whole life. And now I'm going to say that in 1991 or 92, I got a VHS copy of something in the mail that came with no return address. And I popped it in the VHS. It was just a plain copy. And I said, play. So I played it. And it was this guy with glasses in front of a whiteboard talking about how he was a member of the U.S. government as of a back engineering team out at an area called S4 off of Area 51. His name was Bob Lazar. And he talked, went on and on about his experiences. And not only his experiences, how they are able to travel. He said that he was taking apart alien spacecraft to see how they work, and this is what they've learned. And this is how they're able to bend space and time, and this is how, and all that stuff. All right, but I got that in 1991 or 92. Fitz told Sue to remind me about that video tape.
Wow.
And they said that they were responsible for me getting that videotape. And I have people that have trouble believing this story that remember me showing them that videotape. They're witness to that.
What did that do for you when after you saw that tape? What change happened, if any, at the time for you?
I can't say I never not believed that there was life out there. For some reason, I just always believed there's something else. All right. But when I saw that, one of the things that I didn't know about myself that Sue said is I'm empathic. And I've got a sense of, I could tell if I'm not perfect at it, but man, I'm good at telling someone's lying or someone's telling the truth, or it's just either you have it or you don't. It's one of those skills. And there wasn't nothing about Bob Lazar that he said that looked like he was lying. Nothing that he said. Man, I just believed every word he said. I don't know why, but just it was his body language. And then you have to think about this. Bob Lazar, when he was like a young, like a teenager, was strapping rocket engines to his bicycle. And he made a jet car, in his driveway, in his neighborhood, and it was firing up a jet engine in his neighborhood. And he was the scientist, all about propulsion and everything. All right. And then he gets contacted by the government, all right, to do what? Take apart alien spacecraft and see how it works? Well, wouldn't that be the I mean, he's all about propulsion. Wouldn't that be the scientist's dream of a dream to do that? I mean, wouldn't that be the pinnacle of all, is learning a different mode of transportation and all that other stuff? But what did Bob Lazar do? He got depressed, quit, and went public. Why? See, that's interesting. That's what I see interesting about the Bob Lazar story. What would make someone get completely depressed and quit and go public and tell everyone about something that's so secretive? I don't think anyone knew about Area 51 until he came out with it. Maybe a couple, I don't know, but I mean, I honestly don't remember hearing anything about Area 51 until Bob Lazar said it. And it really brought attention to Area 51. You know? But for whatever reason, Fitz was responsible for sending me that videotape. And yeah, it did, it solidified for me when I saw that. I believed him. I don't know why. I just did. I didn't, he has no reason to come out and lie. Why would someone, you know, why would someone come out with something that no one would believe if it's a lie? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
detractors, why come out with something that's so hard to believe? Why would you lie about something that people would have a hard time believing in the first place?
Yeah, I think you know most of the people who are the detractors of Bob Lazar would say that he's someone who wants to be famous, someone who wants attention, etc. That's the main argument, I think, against him, other than, the lack of like records from school, et cetera. But
okay.
But we all know how that can be done and all that kind of stuff. But it is interesting that no one knew about this until he started. I mean, that's the thing I struggle with Bob Lazar. It's,
okay.
I mean, he's the reason we know about Area 51. So how can you have both? How can you have it both? How can he not be telling the truth and then also be telling the truth? So it's really compelling.
Well, what Bob? I mean, I don't know why someone would just. Okay, first of all, this story, when he came out with this made his life more like a living hell than anything.
Well, indeed.
And he didn't get a dime off of any of this. He didn't make no money, as far as I know, off of any of this with him coming public. He just wanted to get it out to the world. But he didn't make any money. It's made his life more of a living hell. He's not, this is not something this is not something he wanted to come out and do. He felt it necessary. But that's just me. It's my opinion. I don't know. I just believe his story. And why would someone that was strapping rocket engines to his bicycle when a kid want to give up learning about different propulsion and all that and come public and say all this stuff? And why would Kevin Day, who had contact, he was on the Nimitz, all right, when they had contact with that Tic Tac UFO, why would he say what he said after having those contacts? He started having nightmares, he called them. And what his dreams were. And I had to call him. I called him. I got a hold of him. Actually, I messaged him and he called me back. And what I had to tell him, I had to, it moved him. It moved him. And it's because we're all involved in this. Anyone that got the information that he got, I wanted to tell him it wasn't no nightmare. They only give that to the good people, the ones that have good heart. And everyone's going to be judged based off of their heart. We were told it's more important now to be a good person than ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's
To be good to one another.
a compelling message.
To not lie against and cheat each other and price gouge each other. And, the only way I can, if people believe anything that I said, I say if you want to be a good person, don't go out and feed the homeless. All right? What you do is worry about the very next person that you're going to come in contact with and what you do with that person. All right, worry about that first. Before you want to go out and do anything good, worry about how you treat every person you come in contact with and what you do with that person. Because it does matter. It does matter. That's what it all boils down to, this whole thing. And I hadn't gone out. We stopped going out to the ranch for over a year until I got contacted by a show from the Discovery Channel that wanted to interview me. And I went out to the ranch and I was going to gift Oma, and it had been over a year that I'd gifted Oma. Now check this out. We didn't, long story, I don't want to get into it, but we weren't able to do that gift that day. So it was the next day that I came out after we were done filming. It was the next day I came out. And I went to gift Oma, and it had been over a year. And the gifting basket and the tree had been taken by the river. Something happened. It was just gone. So I didn't realize the river got that far up. So I ended up moving the gifting location about 150 to 200 yards south of the location that I was at. And I got a new basket, and it was a bicycle basket that you put on the handlebars. Big one. It was way better than the one I had before. And then I strapped it to a tree, like 8 feet up in the air, 8.5 feet up in the air. And I put 10 apples and 5 bananas about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I went home. I went into meditation about 10:30 at night. About 10:30, 11 o'clock, I went into meditation. And I called out to him. And I asked them, did you guys take the apples? And they said, yes, we did. Thank you. Bring more. It's what I got. Now, here's the thing. That could just be what came in my mind. That could just be me saying that. Could have just been me, my mind saying, oh, yeah, bring more. But there was one thing I had to do to see if that was true. I had to go out there. So I did. I got in my Jeep, and I drove out there. And I got to the gifting basket, and not a little over 5 hours after being gifting there, they were gone. All of them. The bananas, everything. Nothing on the ground. Nothing anywhere. Now, the crazy thing, what I thought was amazing, is Oma, they could take up to 2 years before they take your stuff. Take your apples, your gifts, or whatever. It could be 2 to 3 years, but they've done it with us in a couple months. And then I do something huge. I move the gifting basket, and I even have a new gifting basket and everything, and they still took them the same night that I brought them.
Yeah.
After a year of gifting. And that's the only way that I can vet myself, all right, of saying that I'm talking telepathically. It was when that happens, I've got to somehow verify for myself. And part of the reason Sue is where she's at now is kind of by design in a way, because when she left, that was like taking my training wheels off, because I was running everything by her that I was getting. Because when Fitz took me, what I believe they did is they stimulated my pineal gland. I believe that. Some way they did something to it in my brain that has allowed me, and here's the thing, we're all wired for it. All of us are wired for it. It just was never meant to be the main form of communication.
Yeah, I know. I've spent a good amount of time on this show in different areas talking about that. Real quick, because we have to. I'm out of time, Greg, and this is like, I know there's so much more stuff going on that we haven't even gotten into, so we'll have to follow up again.
I'm sorry, it got a little dark, but it doesn't get. Actually, there's no dark. You just got to pay attention to what's going on around the world and watch the signs.
Yeah, well, what's interesting too is, just so people are clear who are listening, we're talking about, there's, some really big concepts here, and, but it's, I mean, it almost sounds wild to say it out loud, right? Like, being abducted, put into a new body, which means you'll be gone.
Oh my God!
Which means you won't be here anymore.
I can hear myself telling the story.
Yeah,
I can hear myself telling the story. But here's the thing, okay? When you go into an investigation like this, I'll make this real quick. Go in like this, and you try to do it as legitimate as I have, and you get these things. You got to roll with it as if it's gonna happen, because they didn't say it's gonna happen in 20 years. They didn't say that 20 years. They say, what's things that, they talk about things that are going to be. So you got to kind of go with it. And because it's not all that far, and you just got to roll with it, and you don't jump off. Like, okay, if nothing happens, you think I'm going to jump off a cliff? No, man. No, not at all. All I'm doing is, giving what they've given to us and repeated it. And that's all. And, the thing is that the things that we said, it's went along a timeline of kind of what's going on around the world now. And, but again, it doesn't mean that, when I mean, it's not like end of time is we know. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's just things are going to be different. Things are going to be really different, and we got to be good to each other. It's about, and that's what the message is, to be good to one another.
I think that's a great message. So,
and to care about one another. If you see someone asking for money on the street corner, it's not up to you to decide if he's trying to rip you off or not. You just need to go, that's a human in need, and do what you can. I'm not saying do that to everybody, but the ones that call out, man, you know what I mean. There's certain people that just, your heart goes out and you want to do something for that person. Why? Because he's a person in need. And that's the things that they've taught me, that I've learned from them. And I'm a better person today than I was, when I began all this whole trek.
Yeah.
And, and there's so much more to talk about. We'll have to talk about later, but, because we haven't even gotten close, and this is still ongoing. This is still an active, ongoing thing, and things that are happening with me are happening daily that I don't even talk about, because after a while, just like the mutilations that happen, most of the time, not most of it, all the time, they don't even report to the sheriff's department anymore. They don't even call. you know, because you know nothing's going to happen. No.
Yeah. I mean, there's no answers that they're going to be able to give them anyway. So.
Yeah. So,
you know.
but anyways, man, thanks. And like I said, I didn't mean to get dark or anything. It's not about that. It's just about telling the truth and what they're telling us. And it's something to think about. And really the message, be a good person, you know, get right with God and be a good person. And you know, worry about the next person you come in contact with and how you treat that person, you know, and do that all the time, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right, brother.
Well, I appreciate it, buddy. This has been a really fascinating chat, and, you know, I'm sure we'll jump on the mics again soon. And, you know, before you move into this new body anyway, we'll get on the mics again.
Listen, man, don't think that I'm like going to go to Vegas and put my whole paycheck on all that. But you know what? You got to have faith. You know, you got to have a little bit of faith. And then when they start doing things I haven't even talked about, we didn't even get into the things that they have done to prove, because over and over and over, oh yeah, they're here.
Yeah.
You know, it's all real. You know, they keep doing it every day, and it happens to Sue too. Sue calls me. She had a major event the other day. She had to call me about it.
Well, yeah, we'll have
and
to.
And she says it's a warning. You know, we'll talk about that. But yeah, it's just, you know, yeah, she got a warning. She got a warning. She doesn't know what it means, but it isn't good, she said, but she doesn't know what it means. You know, but, you know, we just all we can do is go with what we get and, you know, report it, you know, and the best way I can, you know, the most honest way. You know, there's no, like I said, listen, everything that I've told you guys, you know, said, man, if I was able to make that up, I would be writing movies, man. I'd be making movies and all this other. I wouldn't be this guy. I can't make this stuff up. I can't make up, and not only that, all this stuff. None of it like. It all corroborates each other. It continues to build. It doesn't contradict. So that's all I got to say. You know.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it, buddy. Brother. Thanks for telling us, and thanks to everybody for listening. We appreciate you. And as always, you know, RyanSingerComedy.com's got the website that's got everything coming up. I got tour dates in May, July, maybe June as well, and then some stuff in October. So all that information is there. But Greg, thanks for being here. Send our love to Mama Sue. Hopefully next time she'll be, you know, feeling better, and we'll be able to get her to join us, and we'll continue the conversation very soon.
Sounds good. And she said last time, I just talked to her a little before this, and she said to say hi. So,
oh, awesome.
To everybody. So,
yeah. And, yeah, well, I look forward to the next time, buddy. We'll make it soon.
All right, brother, man.
Okay.
All right. Bye.